All right, well, welcome everybody to Selwyn Gets Digital, the Beginner's Digital Marketing webinar. Today we have a couple of housekeeping rules, which I'll quickly run through before we kick things off. Please ensure that your microphone remains muted at all times throughout the webinar today. If you have any questions going forward, please send them through to the chat box, which is in the center of your screen. And please add a queue at the beginning of each question. We'll attempt to answer as many of these questions as we can, but if we miss any questions, we'll definitely follow up with them after the session. And like I said before, this webinar is being recorded, so if you would like to remain hidden, please ensure your video is turned off, and you can do that on the bottom left of your screen. Today we have three awesome guest speakers. We're really lucky to have the team from Mint Design coming in and presenting today. Alice, who is one of our main speakers, is the Communications Director and one of the founding members of Mint Design. Alice is a content writer by trade and started her marketing tech career working as a startup where she was the only female among a large team of male website programmers. Alice has been responsible for million-dollar digital campaign launches and sending email campaigns to global audience of over 1 million people. We have Shane. Shane is a Mint Design Chief Executive. Shane began his tech career, marketing career, when he was 13 years old, setting up computer servers in his bedroom and making money from one of the internet's first ever forms of advertising. His parents wondered why checks were coming in the mail from Silicon Valley. Shane lives and breathes business and marketing. The first thing he does every morning is checks the stock markets, and his mind is never far from a client's marketing strategy. And then we also have Molly. Molly is a senior digital marketer and account manager at Mint Design. She's the go-to person in the Mint team when it comes to performance marketing channels. Her breadth of knowledge and concise communication make her an ideal candidate to translate the mysterious world of digital marketing. I would now like to invite Alice to the stage to run the show. Cheers, guys.
Great. Thank you, Michael. Hopefully you can all hear me and see me okay and see my slide deck and things. I'm sure someone will sing out if that's not the case. So welcome everyone, and thank you for being here, and thanks to the District Council team for putting this event together. Today is all about helping you to demystify the world of digital marketing and how it can help your business. There's so much that we could cover today, but I only have a short time, so I'm going to focus on the area of Google marketing. So in early June, I think it's starting next week, the council are bringing you two dedicated events. One is on Facebook marketing and one's more general on social media marketing. So I'll leave those topics for those presentations. And today I'm going to focus on the area of Google marketing, just for you. So we really hope that you come away with a solid idea of which marketing platforms are going to help you and where you should invest your time and your marketing budget, however big or small that might be. There are so many digital marketing platforms, and you're forgiven if you feel overwhelmed, wondering which are right for you. And today, hopefully you'll come away knowing which Google marketing platform is going to serve your business needs best. If you'd like to ask us a question, please do. We really look forward to helping you out, and we'll answer them all at the end. So we'll dive in so that I've got plenty of time left for all those questions at the end. Okay, so ranking in Google is an important part of almost any digital strategy. It's almost a business growth strategy in itself. And there are two core ways that you can rank in the Google search engine. So one is paid search, or Google search ads, formerly known as Google AdWords. I still call it Google AdWords sometimes. And then there's organic search. So both of these options really do have their strengths, and we'll take a look at both, as well as a couple of other marketing options that Google has in store for you, including a free and very powerful one, which I'll cover a little later. So first, let me visually explain which is which when it comes to organic versus paid search. So some of you might know this stuff, but let's just spend a minute here so that we get everybody on the same page. So this is a screen that you're all no doubt familiar with. If you look closely at the anatomy of a Google search results page, you'll see something like this. So when you search Google, you generally see ads at the very top of your screen, especially when you're searching for products or services. You won't necessarily see ads if you're searching for something like how-to guides or if you're searching for information. So as you can see at the top section, before you start scrolling, it's all ads. So you can see the little ad icon over to the left, it's bolded. And so these ads are ones that you pay Google for every time someone clicks on your ad. So this is a little harder to see. I really had to zoom out on my screen so that I could show you both the Google ads at the top and the organic search down the bottom. So you can see that you really do have to scroll a few times before you see organic, or sometimes referred to as free Google listings. So on mobile, the case for Google Ads is pretty strong. The first screen before you scroll is all ads, and it takes a couple of scrolls of your thumb before you start to see the organic results. And these are results that we don't pay Google to display. So let's just quickly contrast that with the search results that we saw a couple of years ago. So we've got one Google ad at the top, and then quite a few down the side there on the right. Everything else is organic listings. So you can see that there's been a fairly dramatic change in search results over the past few years. And that's why there is now such a great focus on paid search, and why so many brands are redirecting or increasing their spend on Google AdWords or Google Ads. But there's still a very strong case for organic search, and I'll explain a little more about why that is. So part of our job when we work with clients is identifying where their marketing budget will be best spent. So depending on their goals, we'll generally be recommending some kind of Google marketing or gaining greater visibility in Google. Generally, that comes down to deciding if they should do Google search ads or search engine optimization, or maybe a combination of both for some brands. And here's a few things that you should know to help you decide what might work best for you. So with your Google search ads, as I've said, you pay Google each time someone clicks on your ads, but you're in control of how much budget. So you set a monthly limit, whatever you can afford, and then Google distributes that over the month. So let's say you've got $500 per month. Google divides that by 31 days in the month, and so you have a daily budget of $16 per day. Once your budget runs out, your ads won't display anymore that day, and then your budget resets again the next day. And the beauty of this is that you get an even distribution of clicks throughout the month. So a common question that we get asked, and you've probably got it burning on your mind right now, is how much a click costs. So Google search ads operate on an auction system. So the more competitive your industry is, the more you will pay. So a couple of quick examples for you. A builder might pay something like $6 per click, because search terms like builders Christchurch is very competitive, and it often results in thousands of dollars of business, or at least a chance to quote for it. So people are willing to pay a decent amount for a click like that. For search terms like things to do in Christchurch, we have a client who's paying 56 cents for that. It's a little bit of a broader search, so it's appropriate that you pay a little less for it. These people who are searching for something like things to do in Christchurch might be sort of browsing a little bit more idly than someone who is searching for something a little more specific, like paintball Christchurch. You know, that might indicate that they've decided they want to do paintball. They're not necessarily looking for inspiration. They want to check out pricing. They want to see how to book, that kind of thing. So that search term might be naturally worth a little bit more in the auction system. So generally with Google search ads, the results come pretty quick once you start running a campaign. On big budget campaigns, when we hit the go button, clients start to see results pretty instantly with phone calls and bookings and sales and inquiries, or whatever it is that the goal is for that campaign. We start to see those results pretty quickly. I've got there on my slide that DIY is not recommended with Google Ads. So at Mint Design, we're big advocates of doing any marketing yourself where you can, and leaving what we call the rocket science of marketing to the experts. So while there are a lot of things that you can do to DIY, this isn't one of them. The main reason is that you just end up throwing money down the drain. We've taken over accounts before where the business owners who are trying to do everything, you know, they're doing sales and admin and they're doing the actual income generating work. I know there's probably some of you guys on on the webinar today, or maybe there's a marketing junior or an office admin. I know office admins often get tasked with the with the marketing roles. So you guys might be doing it and you give it a really good shot, but in the end it's a really tricky thing to do, and you can end up paying something like $40 a click for something that we can get for $4 because we do all of the correct optimizations. Don't feel bad if you're in that situation. Google Ads is very much a science and an art, and does require a lot of training. We spend months investing in our team members when we train them on how to run AdWords campaigns. Now, with your SEO or your organic search, you don't pay Google for clicks, but SEO is not free. You need to pay an expert to do it for you. And it can take time to see results. It's expected that it does take time. And often we'll tell clients that they'll start seeing results in a few weeks. So we'll see their ads start with their website listings start to edge further up towards the top of the search results, and then they'll start feeling results in a few months. But depending on how competitive your industry is, you can sometimes maintain results after you stop paying for SEO, but it's generally recommended that you keep investing in it in some way or another. Although SEO is getting less real estate in Google, it's still a highly valuable digital asset. I've got a note on that slide, and I just want to quickly touch on structured data. So this can be a really valuable thing for businesses, both big and small. So there's some really good opportunities here, and when people are searching for things like how-to information, or they're asking Google questions, which is obviously a really big part of Google traffic. So there's an example here on the screen where I've searched for how much does it cost to rewire a house? And it shows an article that we wrote for JMW Electrical, a client of ours, and it's been picked up by Google. So the article answers the question about rewiring houses, and it's hijacked this entire space in Google search, which is exactly what we want it to do. We want to kind of dominate that space. And so what people do is they come along and they read this answer, and they may or may not actually click into the listing and go through to the website. And we really do want people to click in and read it. So when we write for structured data, we do it kind of strategically. So if you squint and read the screenshot here, the article snippet gives 3 prices for rewiring a house. So one for a basic house, one for a regular house, and one for an advanced house. So you'd be thinking, well, which one am I? Am I a basic house or am I an advanced house? And you need to click into the listing to find out. So this works best if you are answering a question that requires a fairly thorough answer. If your answer only needs a word or a single sentence, you probably won't get clicks through to your website. So instead, people would come along here on the Google search results page, they would get the answer without having to click, and then they might just sort of go away and do something else or start another Google search. So this is a really fantastic way to help people establish a connection with your brand and give them a little bit of value, and also get them into the sales pipeline if they visit your website and maybe fill out the inquiry form. Back to this slide for my final point, which is that, like Google Ads, DIY is not really recommended for search engine optimization or organic search. Unless you invest a lot of time, and I'm talking hours per week, you can do more harm than good when it comes to trying to do your own search engine optimization, because you can cause some points. It's kind of like demerit points on your license. Google looks at some things that you might be doing that look bad in their eyes, like trying to manipulate their search algorithm, and you can be penalized for it. But one thing that you can do is write content that is relevant for your business and put it on your blog. And if people are searching for keywords that are related to what it is that you're writing about, then that can be a really good long-term way of helping you rank naturally in the Google search engine. So the truth is, organic and paid work really beautifully together, with ads taking care of your short-term needs and SEO gearing you up for the future. But right now we find that businesses don't really have the luxury of banking on a long-term asset. Some businesses do, they're in a really strong position, but instead we're seeing that, right now during COVID-19, businesses need a fairly sure bet and they need some instant results. And that's something that you can expect from Google Ads. So a little more about Google Ads, because we are getting a lot of questions about this, during COVID-19 and this pandemic and the looming recession. So my first bullet point on the slide is that Google Ads are affordable and sustainable. And like I mentioned earlier, you can set a budget, which is in part determined by how competitive your industry is. Like, it's all well and good to say, I only want to spend $100 a month, but if your industry is very competitive, that's not quite going to cut it. So while you do have control over your budget, you've also got to meet the market demands. Like I said, it's an auction system. So another thing that you always want to look at is your margins and what they can handle and what a customer is worth to you over a lifetime. So if your business is set for repeat customers, your lifetime value of each customer is worth more than if you only really deal with one-time purchases. So when I say that ads are sustainable, you can control things if they get a little bit too busy. So if you want to pause your ads because you're fully booked, or if you're closing down over Christmas, for example, you've got control over that. So this is one of the beauties of Google Ads too. So back when we started Mint Design, we were a team of just 2.5 staff, and we were ranking #1 in Google everywhere in New Zealand when people search for website design. And it was fantastic because we got dozens of inquiries every day, but for a small business who was just starting out and we were still establishing our processes and figuring everything out, it was a lot to deal with. And it was a great problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless. So we turned off our Google Ads, but we still got, a lot of inquiries coming through from search engine optimization. So this is a really good way to be able to control that pipeline through Google Ads. So Google Ads are obviously most useful for businesses that have something that people are searching for. So most businesses fall into this category, thinking lawyers, electricians, plumbers, that kind of thing. But there are, of course, businesses that are maybe new products and people don't necessarily search for them because they just don't know that they exist. So there's also a few things that people just don't tend to use Google for to discover. And I find this to be the case in particular with real estate agents. It's more common for people to go off a recommendation. Everyone knows a real estate agent, and it's common to kind of, jump on Facebook and ask your mates, like, who's good to work with, that kind of thing, more so than using Google to discover one. So with any form of online marketing, when you're driving traffic to your website, Google Ads included, it's really only going to be as good as your website is. So if your website's hard to use, it's hard to look at, or it's not mobile friendly, you're probably going to be leaving money on the table. And that might be something that us or another Google AdWords or SEO provider would talk to you about before you commence your campaign, just the expectations with results and expectations with what your website can deliver. And we might make a couple of tweaks just to help increase your conversions. Now, sometimes people ask us about competitors clicking on ads and wasting your budget, and we refer to this as fraudulent clicks. So in a nutshell, Google can detect if this is happening, and you can get a refund on your Google account balance when this is happening. So yes, it can happen, but generally it's kind of little consequence. So Google may penalize people who do this by closing their ad account. So we've had this before when competitors have done this to us and they had to have their AdWords shut down, which was kind of a shame, but yeah, so there are mechanisms in place to prevent that. So another thing that we get asked about a fair bit is whether people actually click on Google Ads. So to help me answer this question, I have a heat map. I love this heat map. So this is how we measure click density, or where it is that people are clicking in Google search results. So if we overlay this with the screenshot that I showed you earlier, we'd see the hotspots in the red and the orange areas over where the ads are. Now, one key to a really cost-effective campaign is choosing which keywords not to target. So because keywords can target a really broad set of phrases, it's important that every keyword that we are ranking you for is relevant to your business or going to attract the kind of business that you really want. So an example of this might be if we're working with an optometrist and they sell eyeglasses. In this case, we want to make sure that we have negative keywords. So this is keywords that we tell Google we don't want to rank for these searches when people search for things like wine glasses or drinking glasses, because it's obviously not going to convert to business for an optometrist. So most campaigns need these keywords that I've got here on the screen, things like free and cheap, unless that might pertain to your business in some way. Also jobs, I don't want my clients paying for clicks for people searching for like an apprenticeship or like an admin role or something like that. Also things like courses, reviews, ratings, and how-to. Sometimes how-to guides can be a really useful thing to use in your search marketing strategy, but only if you're really putting some time and energy into your content marketing. So what do you do if you're selling something that people aren't searching for? How can you use Google's marketing network to your advantage? Well, for that we have the Google Display Network. So here's an example of an ad that I was served up on Trade Me Property. So Trade Me is part of the Google Partner Network, and this ad is for Squarespace, the black ad at the very top of the screen there. Now, Google sort of knows that Squarespace is something that I could potentially be interested in. It's a website platform. Google knows a few things about me, as they do all of us, and they know that this is an industry that I'm involved with. So Google has profiles on everyone who uses their products like Gmail and Google Search, their search engine, and they put together a big composite of all this data, and they make a lot of assumptions about us and what it is that we all want. So it's great for us as advertisers because we can show our ads to relevant people. It's kind of like if you were driving down the street and you saw billboards for things that were only relevant to you, as opposed to things that might be might be relevant to potentially everyone, but not necessarily everyone. So as for us as personal users, Google does raise some privacy concerns, but I guess that's the price that we pay when we use free Google services, which cost a lot for them to run. Okay, so a little bit more on the Google Display Network. It's great if you have products or services, like I said, that people aren't searching for, and we can run keyword analysis to see what kind of search volumes the keywords related to your business are getting. So we can see how many people are actually searching for what it is that you've got, how competitive these keywords are. You can give DIY a bit of a crack on this. Just jump into Google and search for keyword planning tool and follow the prompts. There's a few different tools out there. Google has a really good one, but you need to sign up for a Google AdWords account to use it. I don't think you actually need to run a Google Ads account to use it, but you will need to hand them over some information to use it. So we'll include a link to a couple of tools in our follow-up material. So if you want to go in and sometimes it can be really interesting to see how many people are searching for different things that you offer, and Google or the planning tools can give you some suggestions for some good keywords that relate to your industry or your business. So the Google Display Network is also really useful for new innovations that people need to be educated about. So currently we're working with a Singapore-based company who are moving into the New Zealand market, and they sell health supplements. And no one's necessarily searching for this product because Kiwis just don't know that it's available yet. So we've made a series of ads that show Kiwis what these products are all about. Otherwise, people just wouldn't know about it. So Google Display Network is also used for education campaigns such as the Unite Against COVID-19 campaign. We're all very familiar with those yellow stripes by now. And it's also a really ideal platform for branding campaigns such as ski fields, who'll start their ski season campaigns pretty soon, and they'll start showing, nice images of friends or families having a day out on the mountains. They might not necessarily be ready to start selling passes and things, but they just want to get their brand out there. So it's a really good way to just run a general kind of a branding campaign. We are going through a rebrand at the moment with a logo change. So that's a tool that we'll use to just sort of get out there in the marketplace that we've got a new aesthetic. Here's a couple of examples. This is some that we did for online vet store. Pet owners love these. They get lots of clicks. Interestingly enough, the ads with dogs convert better or get more clicks than the ones with cats. So that's a great fact for the dog lovers with us today. So these ads might display on Stuff or Met Service, Trade Me, NZ Herald, or any other websites that are part of the Google network. So usually these websites are very expensive to place your ad on because they are the most popular websites in New Zealand. They get the most traffic in New Zealand. And if you were to go direct to NZ Herald or a similar website and ask to put an ad on one of their most visited pages, you'd be paying thousands of dollars a day. But on the Google Partner Network, you just pay, like a few cents or a few dollars per click. You won't be on the homepage, of course, for a few dollars, but you will be on targeted pages that are kind of relevant to whatever it is that you're selling or whatever it is that you're about. There's another example of some ones that we did for skins. Okay, so another Google marketing platform is Remarketing. So this allows you to show ads for your business to people who have already visited your website, and it gets them coming back for more. So no doubt you've seen this, you're looking at a product online and then you leave the website and you start seeing ads pop up for it. I'm sure we've all witnessed that now, and I've got a little diagram there for any of the visual learners with us today, so you can kind of see how that works. So if you have a website, you should be doing remarketing. It's very cost effective. It works wonders for conversions, especially on high converting purchases or high involvement purchases, such as home builders. If you're tendering for a contract and someone visits your website as part of that process, you'll have ads working away in the background to kind of chip away and get people trusting your brand. But you do have to implement it correctly. Remarketing can be a bit tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So if an ad just will not stop following you around, it gets really annoying. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, especially if you're working with American brands where their marketing tends to be a lot more aggressive than it is here in New Zealand. We're a little bit more casual. It's a real pain. So we put caps on how often somebody can see your ad, just because for us Kiwis, we just don't appreciate being too hounded by ads. I've also had situations where I see a hotel ad and it's remarketing to me. It's like, I've already been to Phuket, I'm home now, stop showing me your ad. So there's also, that's something that we have to think about, your typical sales cycle and how we might put a cap on the duration that an ad might show. If a product is sensitive, something like hemorrhoid cream, and that shows up when you're showing a colleague something on your computer, that's when remarketing really bothers people, and they're not going to come back to your website if they've had a situation like that. Okay, so let's take a look at a simple and free way that you can really help people to find you in Google, and that is by using Google My Business. So if you've seen a recent webinar of mine, you'll have heard about this, so it won't be new for you, but people love hearing about Google My Business. So I'm gonna give the people what they want. I'm gonna cover this. So Google My Business is a free tool that lets you manage how your business appears on Google search and on Google Maps. So it includes, adding your business name, your location, your hours, and other kind of key metrics about your business. You can also reply to reviews from customers, add photos, and make offers and that kind of thing. So a lot of people might feel like, oh, I've never heard of this before. I don't know, do I use Google My Business? Is it even worth using because I've never heard of it? But it's highly likely that you're using this every day, or every day that you're working with a local business or searching for a local business or using Google Maps to drive somewhere. So you can see in my screenshot here, this is how Mint Design looks on our Google My Business listing when I search for Mint Design Christchurch on my phone. So you can find yours by searching for your business name and then adding West Melton or whatever it is, whatever area you're operating in at the end of your business name. So you do need to have a physical location to use a Google My Business listing. That's one important point about this. So if you are in a franchise model, or if you have multiple locations, you might see something like this when you search for your business. So just click into your actual location and then you'll see your full listing. Now, if you don't have ownership of your Google My Business listing, and sometimes Google does actually just generate them for you, then find that little link. I've got an arrow pointing to it there where it says own this business, and click on that, and then you can gain access to it so that you can have control over it. You have ownership of it. You can make changes to it, that kind of thing. You'll need to verify that you are the legitimate owner of the business, and this can take a couple of weeks and possibly longer right now during COVID-19 because Google are working on a skeleton support team. So get onto this ASAP, today if you can. Find your listing and click that link if you own the business. So I won't hover here too long because this won't be useful for everyone who's already got their listing sorted, but I do have a cheat sheet for everyone on the call on how to optimize your Google My Business listing. So even if you've already got one, and also some tips on how to set it up if you haven't already got it set up. So we'll email that out to you in the notes after the session. Okay, so a few things that everyone can do to optimize their Google My Business listing. So first of all, you want to add photos. Otherwise, Google can just pull ones from user uploads, which can sometimes be really unflattering. Look through all of the photos on your account and make sure that you're happy with all of them, and you can remove any that you're not. You can also upload your logo there just so you got a bit of brand identity happening in the mix. But generally, people really want to see photos of your space. So if you're a retail store or like a bed and breakfast or something like that, then chuck some photos in there of your space. We were working with a very luxurious hotel in Hawaii. This hotel was $1,000 a night. It was very fancy, and their Google My Business profile under the photo tab had a lady sitting on a bidet, which is one of those smart toilets that has buttons. She was in the bathroom and she was explaining everything that was happening when she was using the bidet, which was obviously not good for this brand, for this luxury hotel, but because it was a hilarious video that had been uploaded, Google made it more visible. So the way that Google's algorithm works, if somebody really likes a photo, it keeps getting watched or shared, they're going to push that up. And so because it was getting viewed a lot, Google pushed it up, and it made it even more visible. So we managed to get that sorted for our client pretty quickly, luckily. So you should also edit your hours or your open status if you have made some changes, or if you happen to be, it's not so much an issue now in level 2, but if you are temporarily closed for whatever reason, Google has a feature for that you can use until your business is open as usual. So you have your hours there on Google My Business. This is something that you might have looked at if you're looking to visit a store or a restaurant or something. You want to see what time they're open until. But at the moment, people don't really trust those hours because people don't know for sure if they've been updated. People might be wanting to come and see you, but they're thinking, well, are you even open? Or they want to, call you, but they just think, well, I'm not really sure if you're actually open. So make sure that you do update your hours. But I also encourage you to write a post to say that you are open for business. So you might have something on there saying, COVID-19 update. So you can see a screenshot of an example of an update that I've got here and how that might look. So this one has said that they're closed, but you would want to say, that you're open if that is the case. And I've got some information on how to put a post coming in that cheat sheet that we'll flick through in the follow-up material. So you can also do offers or promos in your Google My Business listing. So you can check out that example over there on the right. So these guys are offering a 20% discount. It's really great for hospo and retail. And this is a really good way to entice people in if they're kind of on the fence. If they're tossing up whether or not to come and see you or come and see a competitor, it's a nice offer to have for first-time visitors in particular. If you're B2B, you're not going to have a 20% discount. If you're a service provider like we are, we don't do like a 20% discount or something like that, but you might have some kind of offer like a free downloadable ebook or a free consultation or a free quote, which is really popular for service providers, like a free on-site quote, something like that. Whatever your unique selling position is, it's nice to have a little offer there. So you should also encourage your customers to leave you reviews on your Google listing. It's really useful for you to get feedback from them, but it's also a good way for your business to really stand out. People do believe reviews online from people they don't know, even more than they believe an expert opinion. And I think the psychology behind that is that if a stranger can give an unbiased opinion on something, it's worth listening to. So be sure to reply to reviews that are left. It shows that you're proactive with your customers and that you're listening, and it also gives you a chance to reply if there's an unfavorable review, and you can kind of show off your conflict resolution skills and that kind of thing. So this is one tactic that can really have a huge impact on your business and how it ranks in Google. Google loves Google My Business listings that have a lot of ratings, even if they're not all like 5-star ratings. So I've actually, to help you along, I've templated you guys some emails that you can send out to your customers or your clients to ask for reviews. Kiwis do not like asking for favors or asking for help. So I thought I would just kind of template this out for you so you guys can copy and paste and do that. So you just need to customize them a little bit by adding links and that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's all done for you. So we'll get this included in the email out. Okay, so a couple of takeaway points. So with Google AdWords and SEO, this is a really useful tool that you should use if you have something that people search for. If with your Google Display Network, this is a really important tool if you need to raise awareness about your offering. And remember with Google AdWords and SEO, in particular, if you're sort of trying to figure out if that's more worthwhile for you, or if you should be using Google Display Network, to check out keyword planning tools. And remember, we'll send you some follow-up material on how to do that. You can see search volumes. Now, remarketing, I like to think that anyone who has a website should be using remarketing. It's a really valuable tool, very cost effective, and it can really help you to close sales. And with Google My Business, everyone who's got a location should be using Google My Business. It's a free tool, it's highly powerful, and it's a really good way for people to find your business and to also share it with other people. Okay, so thanks for being here. I will hand over to our Q&A panel now, and I'll be around for questions as well. If you're doing it tough out there, our hearts really do go out to you. I know it's a tough time, and hopefully yesterday's announcement about the increase to, the loosening of restrictions at level 2 has some positive impact on your business. And hopefully today you've learned something that you can take away and implement that will, help you along the way. So thanks so much for being here, and I'll hand over for the Q&A.
Thank you, Ellie. That's awesome. If anyone has a question, please feel free to chuck it in the chat and we will answer it. But I have one here for Shane from Michael. It says, how can I find a trusted SEO professional? What are some things to look out for when choosing someone to contract for this work? Any things to look out for to identify cowboys in the market?
Really good question. I guess everyone probably knows there's someone that has been burnt by an SEO professional. So yeah, there are some really good ways to make sure that you are vetting these people out. And I guess the main one is just if someone's promising like really quick results or first page or guarantees, like no one can. Google's constantly changing the algorithm. Everyone gets different results depending on their past behavior of browsing. So it's really hard to pinpoint where you actually are in the ranking. So if someone's promising that, they're not really delivering you the truth anyway. So other things is probably the length of their past clients that they've been with. You can get some really quick wins with SEO, but they won't last. So one of the things you can just make sure they do is, have they been working with companies for multiple years rather than just like the last 3 to 6 months, which might be delivering quick results and they're really happy, but time does tell with SEO, which is probably the best thing. Make sure you're asking for the amount of traffic for those keywords. I've seen some SEO companies offer keywords that don't get a lot of traffic, so they're promising page 1 results, which would be really easy to achieve, but they're not really going to produce you any value in the long run. So they might be really long tail keywords, which what I mean by that is they might be 6 or 7 words, which is irregular for people to search for. So that means you're not going to get the results you're looking for.
Cool, thank you. This one's for me. Are there any other benefits of featured snippets or structured data? So this is what Ellie touched on, which was those little answer boxes that appear at the top of Google. And essentially these will show up at the top of Google and entice people to click through, but they also are what your Alexa or Siri or Google Home will read you if you ask them a question. So if you say, hey Siri, what's the weather doing today? Oh God, my phone just went off. And then it will read you the answer, and then it will say something like, for more information about this, open up the link on your phone or on your Google Home app or your Alexa app, and it can take you through to the website. So that's another really powerful tool for those featured snippets. Shane, this one's for you. Which is best, Google paid search ads or Google organic search if I can only do one?
Another really good question. Yeah, so I guess there's a couple of considerations. There's no right answer to this one. If you have a product that's not getting searched a lot on Google, so if it's a new product to market, you would go with paid ads and probably banner advertising, because you're introducing something new. And if it's not, then if someone's got a high intent of needing to purchase an item right now, both paid and Google organic is good. The only thing is that SEO is a very long-term approach. So if you are trying to get revenue, and in this COVID situation, I'd probably recommending paid search if you don't have a presence in SEO, if you had to choose one, just because you're going to get results a lot quicker. But if it's part of your long-term strategy and you've got enough business at the moment, I would go with SEO, because you're going to get like the results over a long period.
Yeah, so sometimes it comes down to cash flow. That's something that we take into consideration when we're helping clients to decide, you know, do you need business right now, or are you okay for now and you want to wait a little longer?
Cool. This one might be one for you, Ellie, which is, can you tell us a bit more about blogging on your website to appear high up in organic searches?
Yeah, sure. So one of the first things that you want to do if you want to do blogging for purposes of search engine optimization would be to jump on those keyword planning tools. So do a little reading into keyword planning and how to figure it out, what it is that people are searching for that relates to what it is that you do or what it is that you offer. And then you need to form an article title that includes those keywords. And then you want to repeat those keywords. I always get a little bit nervous offering this advice, because what I don't want you to do is write an article that stuffs those keywords too much throughout your article. You need to have them naturally occurring, sort of like that conversational tone that includes those keywords throughout your blog post. So, you know, it used to be back, 15 years ago when I was first getting into this online world, that you could just write an article that was about, if I was using the how to rewire a house example, the article title would be how to rewire a house, and then every second sentence would almost be something about that keyword phrase, how to rewire a house. And that's really what you don't want to do, because number one, obviously human readers do not like that, and search engine robots pick up that is like an attempt to manipulate the algorithm, and they'll penalize you for it. So write your article as you naturally would if you were kind of talking to somebody, structure it out nicely to answer the question or to, cover the topic. And then maybe kind of go back through and think, is there anything I can do here to sort of increase the keyword density? If you can go a little bit more advanced than that, try to use those keywords in your subheadings throughout your post. But do take some time to read about that. moz.com is a good place to learn about, how to kind of structure articles for SEO. But the other thing I would do, because what I'm hearing is how do I blog for SEO? But the other, what I'm really hearing is how do I get my content out there? So what you should do is post your content on your blog and then blast it all over your social channels. So share it on your Facebook channel, share it on your LinkedIn business profile, share it on your personal profile on LinkedIn, and just try to get some traffic to your website through your social channels as well, and your email list if you have one. Cool.
I'll take this one. This is, should I be concerned about using the SEO keyword search in my website? So what I'm assuming you're meaning by this is your company name or like your website title is the search term. So Christchurch Builders, that is actually like the name of your company. No, this is awesome. It just means that you're more likely to appear up high in the results, and you should have really good click-through rates and brand engagement. Sometimes if your company name is too broad, it can be a little bit confusing, but generally this is not a bad thing at all, and having that keyword a lot on your website is really good for your SEO results. Cool. Shane, this one's for you. What is a reasonable budget to start with on Google Ads if the market is one that is commonly searched?
Yeah, good question. Again, the first thing to work out is how much the business is worth to your company. And this is a very sort of, I guess, how long is a piece of string question, which is hard, but things to consider, I guess, in this situation is how much is the business worth, and then how many leads does it take you to convert that business, and then how much business do you actually want for the month, and then set your budget from that. So don't try create an arbitrary number for a budget first, because what happens is that you're not going to meet the company's goals. So first go through your business goals, work out how much business that you need to top up by, because you're going to have all that natural recurring business anyway through referrals and past clients and things like that. That's going to drive your business. But if you need to top it up, work out what that top up looks like, what your conversion rate has been in the past, so then you'll know how many leads you need, and then sort of work out how much those leads are worth you for your business, and like how much are you willing to give up of your profit to get that business. And then you can then work out the lifetime value as well, because a customer might not be profitable on the first bit of service or the product they purchase, but if we think over years, like they're going to refer work to us, they're going to hopefully come back for more business if you do a great job. So sort of work it out as a whole, not just the one-off purchase.
The customer lifetime value conversation is a really good one to have with yourself if you're a sole trader, or within your team if you've got one. And if you Google customer lifetime value examples, and if you take a look at how Starbucks do it, that's a really nice example. Starbucks obviously rely on recurring, like repeat customers, people who have a daily habit. So, and even if that doesn't apply to your business, the way that they work it out is really nice and simple, and they almost kind of pioneered or made this concept really popular. So that's a good place to start.
Cool. That's all the questions I have here. So I guess that means we're pretty much finished.
Awesome. If there are any last minute questions, please feel free to send them through just while I finish wrapping up with a spiel here. But thank you so much, Alice, Shane and Molly, for coming in today. It's been awesome to hear from you. I've learned a lot from this myself, and I'm sure the rest of the group have as well. One thing that we are looking at trying out today is, could you please just type in why in the chat box before you go if you enjoyed this workshop and you learned something new. Just a nice easy way for us to get a bit of feedback, and we'll also send out a survey later on with the follow-up and these follow-up notes. If you have any questions or queries, please feel free to fire them through now, but otherwise I will end the recording there, and then thank you for coming along. We do have 2 workshops coming up. We have next Tuesday the 2nd, we have the Selwyn Gets Digital Facebook for beginners, and then next Thursday we have social media advertising. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, please feel free to register through the same form as we registered for this one here. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's awesome to have you here.
Cool.
Thanks everyone. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.